Straight ahead on Action 2 News at 5. Flights at Austin Straubel International Airport will soon be taking off for a new nonstop destination, where the flights will be landing and the impact they're expected to have on both the airport and the local economy.
Plus, large amounts of money are being spent to lobby lawmakers about a potential iron ore mine in northern Wisconsin. Which outside groups are using cash to show their support or opposition to the project?
And time could be running out for a grandfather clock that's been part of the Kewanee community for more than 3 decades. Why the city is in danger of losing this iconic landmark.
Live with coverage you can count on. This is Action 2 News HD at 5.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. It will soon get a lot easier to fly somewhere other than Minneapolis, Chicago, or Detroit from Green Bay's Austin Straubel International Airport. Delta announced a new nonstop flight from Green Bay to Atlanta. It comes at a time when many travelers are opting to drive elsewhere for cheaper airfares or more options. Jennifer Ann Wilson live now at Austin Straubel with more on how the new flight is part of an economic growth strategy for both the airport and community. Jennifer.
Austin Straubel saw 19% fewer passengers in 2012 than they saw in 2011. And they also determined that in 2011, they lost 17% of their business to Milwaukee, which offers more nonstop flights and oftentimes cheaper fares. Airport leaders here want to win back those travelers by winning over airlines and adding more flights.
It's a dating process. Sometimes, you hit a home run. Sometimes you just get to first base.
Getting Delta to add a nonstop flight to Atlanta out of Green Bay was part of a year-long courtship that included a weekend excursion for Delta's decision makers.
They'd never been to this airport before. They'd never seen the community before.
The Green Bay Chamber of Commerce, Convention and Visitors Bureau, and local business leaders teamed up to give Delta the ultimate title town tour.
They saw the revitalization of the heart of Green Bay, some of our industrial parks, and of course the Packers was the highlight.
Airport officials say this is a $6 million investment for Delta and that the team effort really sealed the deal by letting Delta know they weren't just married to the airport, but the entire community.
They felt that there was growth here. There was a sense of community here where we were all working together on a common interest and goal. And I think that took us over the top.
Delta already offers 2 daily nonstop flights to Atlanta from Appleton. The daily nonstop flight from Green Bay begins June 10th and it caters to business travelers leaving Green Bay at 6 a.m. and providing the option to return the same day, leaving Atlanta at 7:05 p.m. Reporting live from Austin Straubel, Jennifer Ann Wilson, Action 2 News.
Thanks, Jennifer. Tens of millions of dollars are being spent lobbying Wisconsin lawmakers to pass mining legislation. A report out today by the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign shows a big interest from outside groups. Go Gibbet Taconite says it will invest $1.5 billion into an open pit mine in northern Wisconsin if the Republican-backed legislation streamlining the permitting process is approved. Matt Smith is here to follow the money.
Here's how the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign did this. They looked at the dozens of groups who have registered with the state, either for or against the mining legislation. So what they found between 2010, when this mining debate really first started, and the middle of 2012, environmental groups lobbying against the legislation contributed a little more than $25,000 to lawmakers. But those groups lobbying for the legislation have contributed more than $15.5 million, both to Republican and Democratic lawmakers. The donors include those in manufacturing, roads, restaurants, and a few labor unions, all who would benefit from this. This spending is a 610-to-1 ratio. Going a bit further, a lot of this money went to Governor Walker, the report finds, including $67,000 from the owner of Go Gibbet Taconite's parent company. And remember this debate, 12-hour public hearing at the state capitol last week? Lawmakers on this committee, both Democrat and Republican, have received about $825,000 since 2010 from interest groups registered in favor of this legislation.
When you look at all this money changing hands, where does that leave us as far as having legislators who have an open mind about these issues and are willing to look at these issues objectively and make decisions that serve the public interest and don't simply serve the interests of big campaign donors?
We've linked to this report in more detail and more links on our website. If you want to explore it yourself, just go to WBAY.com and click on this story.
Thanks, Matt. A bipartisan group of senators unveils a measure today that it describes as a breakthrough in immigration reform. The plan outlined in Washington, D.C. includes a path for citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants, increased border security, guest worker programs, and a crackdown on businesses that employ undocumented workers. 4 Democratic and 4 Republican senators who pitched the plan admit there's no guarantee that it will get through Congress, but say it is a first step forward.
We still have a long way to go, but this bipartisan blueprint is a major breakthrough. It's our hope that these principles can be turned into legislation by March.
We cannot continue as a nation with 11 million people residing in the shadows. And we have to address the issue, and it has to be done in a bipartisan fashion.
Latino advocacy groups, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and organized labor are all applauding today's announcement. Others, like the American Civil Liberties Union, say the proposal to require employers to use an electronic system to verify employment is a thinly disguised national ID requirement. President Barack Obama is expected to lay out his own version of immigration reform tomorrow in Nevada.
All right, first weather time. Things will start out pretty quiet this evening. Here's a look across Wisconsin. We have some clouds and also some clearing, and also it is pretty dry. That is to say, we're not getting some rain or snow, although the atmosphere is very, very damp. And what will happen is that later tonight we are going to have rain, and it is going to be in the form of freezing rain. Those will be in our northern counties right there. That's a freezing rain advisory. It starts at midnight, goes to 9 a.m., including in our viewing area, Forest, Florence, and Langley, northern portions of both Marinette and also Oconto counties, and I'll have more to talk about on that coming up in tonight's weather, as well as a very, very busy severe winter weather outlook. Not only is there going to be rain to discuss, but also fog and snow. So we'll get to all of that coming up in tonight's weather.
Thank you, George. President Obama says police who've experienced mass shootings firsthand can help convince Congress to pass gun control legislation. The president met today with police chiefs who responded to last year's worst shootings, including an elementary school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, a movie theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado, and a Sikh temple shooting in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. He said the group offers invaluable insight into the nation's gun debate.
Many of them also recognize that it's not only the high-profile mass shootings that are of concern here, it's also what happens on a day-in, day-out basis in places like Chicago or Philadelphia, where young people are victims of gun violence every single day.
The president has urged Congress to pass an assault weapons ban, limit high-capacity magazines, and require universal background checks. All the measures face stiff opposition among lawmakers.
While one Wisconsin sheriff is gaining national attention for his stance on gun control, another says he doesn't exactly agree. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark released a radio ad last week suggesting residents should not rely solely on 911 in dangerous situations, but should consider safety training and gun ownership. Sheriff Clark appeared on CNN this morning to further explain the ad.
My message is for law-abiding citizens in certain situations not to go out and enforce the law. I said inside your home when the wolf's at the door and the intruder comes in, or someone sticks a gun in your face when you're on the street to take your property. There are certain things that you can and should do to protect yourself.
However, Dodge County Sheriff Todd Nail says those comments are having a wide-ranging impact as he's received many requests to weigh in on the issue. Today, he released a written statement saying he does not support Sheriff Clark's stance for a variety of reasons, including his own confidence in the county's emergency response system. He goes on to say, quote, "I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, and your decision to arm yourself and protect yourself, your family, and your property is your right. But please, prior to exercising that right, if you can, without exposing yourself to harm or danger, call 911 and seek shelter until law enforcement arrives," end quote.
Some Kewanee City residents are worried about the future of their grandfather clock that's been in the community now for more than 3 decades. Nikki Junowitz tells us why and what they're doing to help.
Towering at 35 feet, Kewanee residents consider this grandfather clock to be the tallest in the world. It's a landmark to those from the harbor town and an attraction to those who are not.
I don't think there's a summer that goes by where there's not somebody, stopping, taking pictures from the road or going up to the clock and taking photographs or movies of it.
The Top of the Hill shop currently holds the iconic timepiece, but it's unlikely it will stay there. After the city bought the property last summer as a place for the Kewanee County Sheriff's Department to store its evidence.
Being that it's going to be a high-level security, evidence equipment, a law enforcement facility basically doesn't usually blend well with a tourist attraction.
So the clock needs to find a new home, and fast.
My concern with the clock is that if the people of the city don't do anything with it, that the city will lose it. It will leave the city.
Kewanee native Jason Jelinek is spearheading efforts to raise local support and money to have it safely moved downtown and restored to the way it was decades ago. A Facebook group he created has nearly 1,000 members.
Green Bay may have Green Bay Packers, but to have the world's tallest grandfather clock, I think that's something to really hang on to.
The Kewanee City Council will continue to consider possible locations and hopefully come to some kind of conclusion at their February 11th meeting. Reporting in Kewanee, Nikki Junowitz, Action 2 News.
There's one big clock.
It is.
Wow. A consumer alert is issued today for anyone who uses a credit card. Why retailers can now charge as much as a 4% surcharge to people who make their purchases with 2 specific types of credit cards.
And Action 2 News learns new details about a weekend crash that involved multiple vehicles and sent 2 people over a Highway 172 overpass. Tonight at 6, Sarah Thompson explains what type of training first responders receive to prevent additional accidents in similar circumstances.
Well, it's pretty mild outside right now. These are the current temperatures across northeast Wisconsin. Lots of low and mid 30s. And if you think that is mild, wait. Oh, just wait until tomorrow.
From Action 2 News, Bill Jartz and Cammie Rapson. This is Action 2 News HD at 5. Coverage you can count on. Here's meteorologist George Graffis, live from Storm Center 2 HD. Brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm.
What a week this is going to be. Let's just start out here and show you what's going on now. And just over the next 24 hours, we'll have some interesting weather going on. Here's what's going on. We're not getting any rain or snow right now. Off to the west, that is where this next batch of moisture, as well as from the south, will be arriving. And that won't be until later tonight. So the evening is going to be pretty quiet. Now, as I mentioned earlier, all of this shaded area, kind of a pink color there, is a freezing rain advisory. It starts at midnight. It goes to 9 a.m. and it does include in our viewing area those of you in Forest, Florence, and Langlade, and obviously from there west into north central Wisconsin, northern sections of both Marinette and Oconto County. All right, so that's freezing rain advisory. The area here to the south is more likely to get rain. Now, if you look here over the next 5 days, it does look pretty busy, doesn't it? Kind of cluttered, but the bottom line is that tonight, later tonight, and into the morning tomorrow, we are going to have one fog, and it could be quite thick and dense. And we also are going to have that chance of that icing, and especially, as I said, in our northern counties. And then by tomorrow night and into Wednesday, we're looking at the chance for some snow that could bring out the shovels and plows. We could have several inches, maybe even 2 or 3 or 4. It's a possibility here going into Wednesday, and all through this period here, it looks like we're going to get additional chances for some snow even later in the week. As far as the temperatures are going to go here, now this is later on this evening, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and it's sort of a midpoint on the temperatures, but you can see how they go from like around the mid-20s and they rise overnight. This is 6 o'clock in the morning above freezing. It is right now, but we're going to cool a little bit here between now and probably around midnight or so, and then the temperatures will hold steady, start to go back up again, and these temperatures for highs tomorrow will be upper 40s into the lower range of the 50s, but not in the northern section of our viewing area, and that's where that freezing rain possibility is. So here's Storm Center 2 pinpoint predictor, and let's pick this up here. This is at midnight tonight. Here comes the rain from the south. Starts to push up in our viewing area. That's this area right here. That's 6 o'clock in the morning. You got snow off in western Wisconsin, rain in eastern Wisconsin. The warm air is pushing northward into the state. Let's put a line right here. North of that line is where we're going to have a chance for some ice. Roughly from Wausau to Wasaki northward. That's the best opportunity there to get into some of that icing for your later night and early morning tomorrow. Otherwise, it looks like rain at times tomorrow right on into about 6 p.m. But you'll also notice down here there is there's more rain that's trying to work back into the area. And by the time we get it into the beyond midnight tomorrow night into Wednesday, it's not rain, it's snow. And you can see here a good chance for some snow, and this could could be one that, as I say, brings out the shovels. It's the colder air that's going to be coming in from western Wisconsin. Talked about it last week and how it was going to transition us from a warm start to this week to a much colder start. That's actually moving in a little bit slower than earlier thought. So that's why we're going to say, you know what, there's a chance of snow on Wednesday. Things do change. There are the temperatures. Lows tonight below freezing north, close to the freezing mark in the south, but then they're going to go back up again as we head past the midnight hour. Tomorrow, there they are, upper 40s into the lower 50s, and a little bit cooler though when you look to the north. Record high, I think tomorrow in Green Bay is 50 degrees, I believe. The current temperature is 36, and the wind is very light, west-southwest at 3 miles per hour. So from Storm Center 2 tonight, fog and rain, freezing rain to the north, possibly as much as a tenth of an inch. When we get freezing rain advisory, then midnight to 9 a.m. Again, north of a generally Wausau to Wasaukie line. Steady and then slowly rising temperatures overnight. As for tomorrow, morning fog is likely, rain is likely tomorrow, and we could have that morning freezing rain in the north. And then later tomorrow night, late Tuesday night into Wednesday, we'll get a chance for that snow and possibly several inches there. And temperatures tomorrow will be very mild, warmest of the entire week, upper 40s, low 50s in east central Wisconsin, with some lower half of the 40s in the northern portion of the state. And there you can see that snow going into Wednesday. The winds are kicking up, and I'll tell you something else. There's not only the chance of snow going into Wednesday, but I think we're going to get some below zero wind chills from Wednesday night right on through Friday night.
Is that a 5-day or a 5-week forecast from 50
crazy.
to below zero?
Isn't that amazing?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, something to warm you up. The WBAY Prize Patrol back up with an amazing shopping spree for grabs now. The latest extreme furniture makeover being brought to you by Furnitureland in Pulaski. This time around, you have more chances to win. This is great. We are handing out a keyword every day on Action 2 News this morning and another one on Action 2 News at 10. Once you have a keyword, you just head over to WBAY.com, click on the contest tab to enter. Weekly winners will be drawn each Wednesday on Action 2 News this morning, starting on February 6th. Those winners take home a $1,000 gift certificate to Furnitureland. The grand prize is a $15,000 shopping spree at Furnitureland. That's drawn on Wednesday, February 27th. Good luck to all, and we'll be right back.
Choosing debit rather than credit could save you some money the next time you use plastic to make a purchase. As a result of a class action settlement last July, merchants now have the option of charging customers who use a Visa or MasterCard a surcharge as high as 4%. The surcharge is supposed to equal the retailer's cost of processing the credit card transaction and does not apply to debit cards. Well, the National Retail Federation polled its members and found none plans on charging the extra fee. Tonight at 6, Bao Vang explains how some area small businesses plan on handling the option and explains why the decision may not be as easy for them.
10 football fans have the chance to become part of the Green Bay Packers history. The organization says voting began today for this year's Packers Fan Hall of Fame. As seen in this video, that was Rick Steele of Pennsylvania becoming the Hall of Fame's 14th member last February. This year, the 10 finalists live in 5 different states, including Wisconsin, Alabama, New York, Virginia, and Indiana. People can vote online for their favorite finalists through February 22nd. The winner will be announced in March. You can find a link for voting. Also, additional information about each finalist on WBAY.com. Just look under featured links.
Start voting. Here's Chris now with sports.
Well, Bo Ryan opts for the Monty Python approach. Always look on the bright side of, in this case, bad shooting. And the Phoenix women seek to continue their streak while the Phoenix men reel in a league honor for the 2nd week in a row. Those stories and more when we come back.
Now, here's Chris Roth from Action 2 Sports HD.
How you doing, everybody? The Phoenix women will try to extend their winning streak to 11 games tonight when they visit Wright State at the top of the hour. 15-2 GB currently ranked 2nd in the country in scoring defense. They're allowing just 47 points a game. They gave up 44 in beating the Raiders at the Crest 2 weeks ago. The Phoenix men will try to make it 2 straight road wins when they play at Illinois Chicago Thursday. They will have the Horizon League Player of the Week to lean on. Junior Alec Brown picks up the honor today. He put up 41 points in 2 games last week, including a career-high 23 in GB's first road win of the season. That was Friday night at Milwaukee. Brown joined the 1,000-point club at GB during that game. GB has won 5 of its last 6 games, and the 7-1 Brown averaging over 15 points during that stretch. The Badgers visiting number 11 Ohio State tomorrow night, and they managed to escape with a win over the weekend against Minnesota despite another tough shooting performance. In 2 home games last week, the Badgers made just 26% of their shots against Michigan State, just 37% against the Gophers. Bo Ryan has been around long enough to know it's best to handle this with a sense of humor.
You know, one of these games we're gonna make the nets move. You know, times are tough all over, and financially we're saving a lot of money here at the university because our nets last 10 years. These nets this year will be around 10 years compared to other gyms where they last a year or two. What do you think? They're in the locker room now going, man, didn't we shoot the lights out? Man, we might shoot better if the lights went out.
Having a good time with it anyway.
Oh, well, that's all you can do. That's tip your waiters and waitresses at the comedy club. That's good stuff right there.
We'll be back.
All right, there is a look at Wisconsin and some surrounding states out across Minnesota and South Dakota. That's all snow, rain off to the east of us. But later tonight, we will see rain moving into our state from the south, overspreading the area during the overnight hours and areas north of Green Bay in a freezing rain advisory midnight until about 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I'll have more coming up on that at 6.
Sounds good. Thanks for watching.
Bye.